So the other day I was hanging out with a couple friends of mine, and one is another dating coach and the other is a really sexually experienced guy, and we were talking about women, we were talking about sex, and the topic of monogamy came up, and it seems to be a hot topic always throughout the history of humanity. But it was interesting because they were talking about how pointless it was, how it didn't make any sense, to ever be married or be monogamous, and those are two very different things. But they just didn't make sense, and they were asking me about it, and they actually said, if you didn't have kids with Maria, would you still be with her? And they were really polite about it. They said, don't be upset by this and yada, 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 but I wonder, it just doesn't work. And it's always an interesting thing, and I think that there's this idea, especially in the dating and sex industry, that somehow to be a man, you have this abundance of women and all this experience, and it gives you this clarity, and it's this image of things. But guess what? And kind of fitting that Neil's book has come out, who's kind of an interesting take, the guy himself. I mean, I guess this isn't really about him, but if you look at all the dating coaches that we've had, and I've been in the industry for 10 years, I've taught for 10 years, and I've had every type of relationship you could imagine. I mean, I've really done it and lived it. And when I was living it, I realized how few people in this industry actually do live it. But when we look at that, what dating coach do you know that, or seduction coach, some icon of masculinity, life coach on whatever level, even self-help in general, who has had a functioning relationship? And it is so few. Who can have a girlfriend? Who can allow themselves to feel in love and allow themselves to go into that mode of life? And as I was explaining to my buddies, as I was saying, look, it's not so much about whether monogamy is right or wrong. It's not so much about whether marriage is right or wrong. It's so much about that if you are with a certain amount of women, as you guys have, you will fall in love. You will want to be with that woman. You will go through that natural process of feeling her, of wanting to protect her, wanting to be with her, wanting to give her everything. And sure, that moment may pass, and you may have other relationships where you just want to fuck everybody and you don't want to give a shit about the girl that you're with and yada, yada, yada. And there's all sorts of different expressions to masculinity and sex and femininity that men and women go through. But the crazy thing is that we limit it. We compartmentalize it, we try and control it, and we try and give it a right and a wrong, and we follow that without even knowing what it is. And I've seen so many men giving advice to other men, being championed by other men who can't even fucking know how to break up with a woman, who don't even know what it's like to go through that real time of what it means to fully give yourself to a woman, to do everything for her, or to make that commitment and then not want to do it and know what to do then. And it's such an interesting world that we've made. See, I don't think it's a question of whether monogamy is right or wrong, but it's a question of how is it that so many men fear it? Why do we fear getting to that point where we might be affected? Why do we fear getting to that point that's natural, that every single one of you who's held a woman in your arms that you cared about and you were making love to her afterwards or whatever, wanted to give everything to her, but something about the manual of how we're supposed to be as men said, this isn't what you do. You have to be alpha. You have to hold the frame. And yet you're chasing around an image, but you don't even know how to do what is in your nature. You don't even know how to honor what is in your blood, and you don't even know how to honor what is you. And see, as men, we run from our true masculine nature. We run from our true nature of self. We run from the intimacy. We all feel it. We all want it. We all desire it. But we can't go through it. And actually, for one of my buddies, what the issue was, and this was, really cool, we actually talked about it, is he said, man, this hits home. Because why the fuck would I want to be in a relationship with somebody when I've been in love and it didn't work out for me? Why the fuck would I want to be in a relationship with somebody, give my life to her like I saw my parents did, and I sat there at home at the breakfast table wishing that they could just make up with each other for a day and have them argue and tear at each other's throats and hate each other, and that's what I saw as normal? Why would I want to give a life where I'm a kid and my dad leaves for 12 years and I don't see him? Why would I want to repeat that? Why would I want to repeat that pain? And instead of solving that pain or seeing a solution to that pain, we as men hold on to that. And what do I see with most dating coaches? What do I see with most men who are in pain? Not just dating coaches, but what do I see is people running from that pain, refusing to see it, and coming up with a better idea that isn't actually human. And it's like this man-made concept of we're going to be this and that. And this is what it means. And I'm going to repress that feeling of love and connection and intimacy that every single one of us feels naturally when we are in that mode with a woman. Now, I'm going to tell you, who knows how long I'll be monogamous for? Who knows if that is the greatest way to do it? And it's a challenge, and it's tough at times, and it's hard. And believe me, we all want to have sex with other people. That's part of our urge. But there is such a great, beautiful joy to knowing what it's like when somebody can love you completely, totally have your back, and have the stability of that. And there's such a natural feeling to when we are intimate, when we are sharing time together, of how good that feels, that could not only not be replaced by any other person, but it couldn't be replaced by a situation that I could get with a girl in a 3-month relationship, a 2-week relationship, a year, 2 years, and so on, but could only be what I have built and I have with that person. As men and as women, we need to challenge ourselves to have the relationships that work for us. And where that starts is you, what you feel, and allowing yourself to feel it. Man, stop looking up to men who don't know. Stop looking up to people who are searching for that answer outside of themselves, and find that answer that's inside you. And if you have pain, and if you have hate, and you have rage, and you have all this mistrust, this pain of abandonment and so on, much like I have had for my whole life and I still have it, well, guess what? Learn how to be honest and talk with other men about it. And stop playing a guessing game with your reactions to avoid who you are and what you're capable of, because if you do that, you will never be a man. In any case, the sun's going down. It's a beautiful day here in San Antonio, and I decided to do these on my phone and see what happens. So if you like them, let me know. Peace out.